after a month-long journey, the caravan of migrants is finally at the U.S. border. Along the way, locals have offered them food and shelter. But now that they're in this border town of Tijuana, they say they can't handle the crowds and they're at capacity. Overnight, a crisis at the border. The mayor of Tijuana requesting aid from the United Nations as nearly 5,000 Central American migrants wait to apply for asylum in the U.S. Fleeing violence and poverty, a group of migrants from Honduras waving flags and demanding to be let into the United States. The town's food and shelter pushed to the limits as migrant mothers and their children huddle under blankets just feet away from the edge of the U.S. border. All this as President Trump threatens to shut down the border.
We will close entry into the country for a period of time until we can get it under control.
For the entire border?
The whole border. I mean, the whole border.
The president not stopping there, raising the possibility of allowing U.S. troops to use lethal force.
If they have to, they're going to use lethal force. I've given the okay. Yeah, if they have to. I hope they don't have to. But, you know, you're dealing with a minimum of 500 serious criminals. So I'm not going to let the military be taken advantage of. I have no choice. Do I want that to happen? Absolutely not.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kirstjen Nielsen said that there are 500 serious criminals and gang members in this caravan. But when asked what crimes they committed and how they identify them, she gave no evidence. Dan?
All right, Tara Palmieri reporting in from Florida. Tara, thank you.
Very rarely see this, and it's going to get a lot worse. This is the border fence between Mexico and the United States. Migrants from the newly arriving caravans in Tijuana scaling the steel railings. They're inches away from America and San Diego in the distance. In truth, if they jump, they'll be caught in seconds, unless, of course, hundreds do so at the same time. And that's a fact the US Border Patrol, watching in cars and on horseback and quad bike, are fully aware of. The sounds of patrolling helicopters are never far away anymore, and this is unusual. The border fence is monitored and patrolled every day of the year, of course, but the migrant caravans, the rhetoric of President Trump and his military deployment here has raised the stakes.
More than 1,000 U.S. troops are on the U.S.-Mexico border preparing for the possible arrival of a migrant caravan. Our Ken Molestina spent his day embedded with those troops, and we're going to get to hear more from him tonight at 10. But just before he lost access to technology, he filed this report.
Well, you know, our original embed assignment with the troops took us to the Donna port of entry just outside of McAllen, but at the last hour, U.S. Army officials redirected us here to the Brownsville-Matamoros port of entry. This is about an hour away from Donna. Now, the significance behind all of this is that this is now the area where the troops have expanded their efforts into. They're going to be working here all day, and this is where we will be spending time embedded with the troops throughout the day today. There are engineering units that continue to set up concertina wire and other barriers in these parts, And this is now once again become a major spot of interest for both U.S. troops and immigration authorities. All of this is being done while they continue to keep a very watchful eye on the direction of the migrant caravan and where they are headed. Now, we do know that at least a portion of them will be trekking towards the Tijuana area in Southern California. But now with talks of new caravans merging and others in that group still wanting to head due north, officials here say they are not only staying put, but they are expanding here in the Rio Grande Valley. The current order for the troops down here keeps them in place here till about December 15th. There are 1,300 troops now spread out throughout the Rio Grande Valley. Of course, President Trump has said that he will deploy up to 15,000 troops if he feels that they are needed in this area. We're going to be spending the day with several of these troops out here in the Brownsville area, and we will have an updated report for you tonight at 10 o'clock right here on CBS 11. For now, we're in Brownsville. Ken Molestina, CBS 11 News.
And Ken remains embedded with the troops right now. Like he mentioned, we're going to get a full look at his day on the border tonight at 10. And you can continue to catch his reporting at the border through tomorrow right here on CBS 11.
Now, military troops are closing off some northbound lanes at the San Ysidro and the Otay Mesa ports of entry. This as they prepare for the migrant caravan to make its way to the U.S.-Mexico border. 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is live for us in San Ysidro this morning. Mimi, these closures are worrying drivers. They could cause some real issues.
Yeah, that's something CBP is warning all drivers traveling northbound into the United States from Mexico is to expect extra wait times. 3 lanes have been blocked off on the opposite side of what you're looking at right now, according to CBP. And right now, if you look right down there, troops are down there working on putting together even more barricades, topping them off with razor wire.
People come across the border every day, so it's going to affect everyone. The first time that I see trucks and for them trying to make the safety barricades, you know, so that people that don't come across the U.S.
Francisco Navarrete lives in the U.S. but crosses into Mexico 2 or 3 times a week. This is the first time, though, he's seeing this. Military personnel coming into the area, securing and blocking off at least 3 northbound vehicle lanes at the San Ysidro port of entry and 1 in Otay Mesa. This is at the request of Customs and Border Protection, which asked for barricades, fencing, and razor wire to be installed as part of Operation Secure Line in preparation for the migrant caravan and potential safety and security risks that could come with it. Thousands of migrants are fleeing Central America, hoping to seek asylum here in the United States. About 85 people already broke away from the main group and are currently in Tijuana. They say they were facing discrimination for being members of the LGBTQ community. And in the last couple of hours, 10 News has actually learned a larger group of migrants is expected to show up in Tijuana sometime today. So right now, it is unclear when the lanes here will reopen, but CBP says it will provide updates when all the materials are removed and the lanes are no longer blocked. Of course, this is something we will continue to keep a close eye on and continue to keep you updated with as we learn more and see more here today. For now, we're live in San Ysidro. Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
Well, the migrant caravan is fake. You've been watching CNN, so you know that. Look at this graphic, quote, invasion, unquote, then the word myth on the screen. It's a myth! A pernicious one, too. Is it actually a myth? Well, filmmaker Ami Horowitz decided to find out himself. He went to Mexico looking for this fake caravan. He found a real caravan, and he filmed it. Here's part of what he found.
Despite the framing of the caravan as being full of women and children, the reality on the ground is quite different. Approximately 90 to 95% of the migrants were male. The major narrative being pushed by the press has been that the migrants are leaving Honduras because they're escaping extreme violence and that their lives are under constant threat, setting up the strategy that they would be able to enter the U.S. by asking for asylum. So I started by asking them a simple question. Why are you coming to America?
Bueno, voy buscando una mejor vida económica.
Vine a trabajar allí a Estados Unidos. Si podemos trabajar allá porque en Honduras no hay trabajo.
There's a massive logistical effort underway, akin to moving an army, and is clearly costing someone millions of dollars for the transportation, food, water, medicine, and services that are being provided for the members of the caravan. The Mexican government also seems to be sending police to escort the dozens of buses and trucks that are ferrying the migrants and supplies along the route to the next destination. Ever present among the thousands of migrants are workers of Pueblo Sin Fronteras, clad in black t-shirts and colored vests. Pueblo Sin Fronteras means people without borders. They're the ones that seem to be most involved in organizing and mobilizing this caravan. The organization, as the name implies, is looking to create a world without borders, which seems to be one of the reasons why they organized this caravan in the first place, to flout American sovereignty. While it does seem as the majority of these migrants are friendly and simply trying to make a better life for themselves and their families, there's an undeniable element of the migrants who are violent and dangerous. And many of the migrants know this, and some have experienced it.
En el viaje hemos recibido agresiones verbales, físicas.
It seems to me that there are leftist organizations that are using these migrants as a tool to push a certain political agenda, which includes the weakening of American sovereignty and our border security. And unfortunately, these migrants are going to be caught in the crossfire.